Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast for all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time. I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. I am the senior pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue in Wilmington, Delaware, at the corner of Hillcrest and Marsh Road. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, as always, is brought to you by 3D. It's brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. Will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. You may already know that Fiji Water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock. The water collects in a natural artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the cap. This is Earth's finest water, and it will be delivered right to you at your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers who continue giving on the Give segment of our app, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast, we thank you for your commitment and your support as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here to address whatever topics you might like to discuss, whatever issues of life you find challenging or that you find difficult to navigate. You can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, scheduling permitted, in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I want to remind all of our listeners and viewers that we are now not only Facebook Live, but we are also YouTube Live, so you can now call or text daily on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. But because we're Facebook Live, you now have the opportunity to chat with us live. So I want to just say to everyone, feel free to communicate with us. Feel free to reach out. We will continue to address whatever topics you might like to discuss in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your love life was a disaster long before the pandemic. However, you want to change that and you do not know how to do that during the pandemic. So here's the reason that I had to chuckle is because, listen, you have identified the fact that your love life was a disaster before the pandemic. You cannot change your love life in the midst of a pandemic. I realize that there are people moving around, going out, doing all types of things, but the most important thing during this time is that everyone remains safe and well. So you can do things, but you have to know who you're doing things with. And you have to know that you are going to be safe and be well, and that you help others remain safe, safe and well during this time also. So you got to know who you're doing things with. The problem is not that you don't have the ability to do things during the pandemic, but the problem is that you are focused on your love life, and the truth of the matter is the reason that your love life has been a disaster is because you're the hangout girl. There's a couple of types of people. There are people who are settled and who are settled in relationships. And then there are people who are, the good time people. So the good time girl. And then there's the hangout girl. You're the young woman that everyone hangs out with because you hang out a lot. You enjoy hanging out because you think that that is going to fulfill your life by being around a lot of different people on a continuous basis. And here's my response to that. Unless it's generating revenue for you, it's not important to be every place all the time. But here's the reality. You're the young lady who listen, you're in your mid-30s and you hang out with a lot of people. You hang out with a lot of different guys. You go out, you eat, you have a good time. Sometimes you end up spending the night, and you're the hangout girl. The problem is, the reason you cannot have a relationship is because there's no man who is going to try to keep up with you. There's no one, so you've got to prepare yourself for a relationship. There's no one that's going to be hanging out with you and then try to keep up with you to have a relationship with you. It's not going to happen. So you're going to continuously find guys who want to hang out with you, but they're not going to want to be in a relationship with you. And the reason is because they're hangout people also. So they're looking for different people to hang out with at different periods of time. So what I can say to you is this. You want to change the way you're living. You want to be in a sustainable relationship. Not just a stable relationship, a sustainable relationship. Because you could have a stable relationship for a year, but it might not be sustainable. And the reason it's not sustainable is because you haven't prepared yourself to be in a relationship. That requires preparation. That requires you to recognize that if you're going to be in a relationship with someone, there are now two of you that must be taken into consideration. Yourself and the other party. You cannot expect anyone to try to keep up with you if all you're going to do is hang out. That's not going to happen. So let me kind of break down for you the method of developing a relationship. And I've said this in previous broadcasts, and you can go back and review the broadcast. Every broadcast is archived for 365 days on our app at New Life Delaware, on our Facebook page, and on our website at newlifeministriesinternational.com. Click on live stream, you'll see all of the broadcasts. Every broadcast is archived for 365 days. Now that we are YouTube live, they will be maintained on YouTube also. I encourage everyone, we've got to get back to the basics. If you really want to have a sustainable relationship, here's what has to happen. You have to prepare yourself while the man is preparing himself. Because there's someone out there that God has appointed for your life. And then you've got to let him find you, which means you have to position yourself to be found. But before you position yourself to be found, you have to prepare yourself to be found. So what I'm going to encourage you to do is work on you first. Work on, being a better you, a better version of yourself that you can become. Body, mind, and spirit. Get your body right, get your mind right, get your attitude right, get your behavior right, get your commitment right. All of that's part of your mind, and then get your spirit right. So really work on your relationship with the Lord, because when you learn to have a committed relationship with the Lord, you'll learn to have a committed relationship with the right person, not someone that's just going to hang out. And then what happens is this. When you meet someone, in other words, and start going to different places than you've always gone, because you've been doing a lot of the trendy stuff, but trends change. Trends cycle themselves. Start going to some places that have quality people. Now you might say, well, I don't know what you mean by quality people, Pastor. People are people. No, there's a different quality of people when you go to different places. When you go to quality places, you know, there are specific places in every city that are known for having quality, and there you will find quality people. I'm not saying that they won't have their own issues to deal with in life, but their issues are going to be at a higher quality. You know, it's about exposure. If you don't expose yourself to quality people, you're going to, in other words, you can't soar like an eagle if you hang out with chickens. And there's got to be, and I'm not just talking about standards, I'm talking about positioning yourself in the right place to meet quality people. So quality people are not going to hang out at trendy places. They're going to hang out at places that have been quality institutions, whether it's restaurants, whether it's art galleries, whether it's charitable events. That's where they spend their time, because they don't want to be in the midst of a lot of mess. They're not in the midst of drama. They're not in the midst of mess. They are focused on enjoying a quality of life. Okay. And that has to be developed also. So, you know, I used an example recently, and I said to my wife, I said, I'm looking forward to taking my grandson and my grandchildren to the Four Seasons just for lunch. Now, I only have one right now, but someday, hopefully, there'll be more. But he's only 2.5. I have to call them to find out what time, what age he needs to be to enter into one of the restaurants. But I'm looking forward to that, because I want him to learn about being in quality spaces, quality places, quality spaces, and around quality people. That's important, because that's how we develop a better quality of life. In our area, there's a place called the DuPont Hotel, which also has what was known as the Green Room, but now it's been redone and renovated, and it was always an old establishment. That's a quality place. You can find them anywhere. I don't care how large your city is, how small your city is. You can find quality places. And put yourself in an environment where you're going to meet quality people. And then once you've done that, you have to be prepared that someone is going to take an interest in you. And then what I'm going to say is this: go back to the basics. If you meet someone who is interested in you, because the Bible says, he that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. So you don't want to miss out on that favor, so you don't want to be finding someone, you want someone to find you. Because if you're finding someone, you're not going to choose the person that God has appointed for your life, because that's not the person that found you. You found him. And then what you do is if he asks you out, you tell him that you would like to go to church with him and then out to lunch. Because you need to know if he has a relationship with the Lord. You need to know what he's being taught. You need to know that he's got a plan for his life, because if he doesn't have a plan for his life, he can't have one for yours. Those are important things to know. And do that 3 times. If he doesn't have a church, as I've said before, then you invite him to your church. 3 times, to church and out to lunch. You'll know everything you need to know by the end of 3 outings. You can decide if you want to date further or if this is not a good fit for you. But you have to know what the fit is first. You have to know what they know. You have to know what they're being taught. You have to know what their relationship with the Lord looks like, because only what the two of you will do for the Lord and with the Lord will last. That's what sustainable relationships look like. And if neither of you are doing that, then it's not going to work from the beginning. It's already a relationship that is not going to be sustainable. And if you decide that you're going to push it into marriage, it's a marriage that's not going to last. So we just got to get back to basics of doing the right thing and doing things the right way. Because there's no right way to do wrong and no wrong way to do right. So I'm having a problem with my allergies, and because we're live, you're hearing me, my throat's getting a little raspy and a little scratchy. But the changes you have to make is just stop being the hangout. Stop being the hangout girl. Because no one's going to be able to keep up with you. And because no one's going to be able to keep up with you, you're not going to have a relationship that's going to last until you change that aspect of your life. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you can call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line. We will move you over into our queue where you can experience T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill. And if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest nationwide 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have been quite irritable and extremely tired as of lately. It does not feel as though you are experiencing the success that you desire, and it's causing you some stress. So let me begin by saying this to you. You are stressing yourself out because God allowed me to see in that secret place of your life. You are on course. You are daily working to build a great quality of life. You are doing the things necessary personally and professionally to be successful. The problem is you're expecting success too fast. There's no such thing, listen to me, there's no such thing as an overnight success. And I'm going to give you the biggest fictitious distortion of reality that ever existed, and that is that people think that because someone gets discovered that they are an overnight success. The reason someone gets discovered is because they have been putting some work in to get discovered. Now you might say, well, Pastor, that doesn't happen with a model who gets discovered walking down the street in New York. But you don't know how many hours a day she puts in taking care of her body, taking care of her appearance, taking care of the way she presents herself, even down to the very walk that she has, the intentional walk that she has. There's been work to develop that. I'll use another example. We often think that people who are discovered in the entertainment sector, that they're discovered because someone bumped into them and said, I'm going to put you in a film. That's not what happens. People are working to get to that place where someone will discover them. That means that someone observes them and decides that they have what it takes to perform at a much higher level. They have casting calls for people to come in. People are constantly going to casting calls and do not receive a part for years. They take other jobs, They work other jobs while they're waiting for their opportunity. And then that one part that they might perform, that one bit part might lead them to something else. You've got to understand there's a lot of work involved in being successful, and it takes time to do that work to become successful. So you've got to recognize that even though you might not be experiencing the success you desire right now, you're on course to accomplish that. Keep doing what you're doing and do not be weary in well doing it. Just keep doing what you're doing every single day. God has allowed me to see in that secret place of your life, you are really on course to maximize your success by experiencing the fullness of God in your life and then maximizing the fullness of God. Just keep moving step by step. Put one foot in front of the other. Keep doing what you're doing. Personally, your life is in order. You are currently in a relationship with someone who is doing the right things, who is solid. I mean, rock solid. You two have your own living spaces right now, but you're working on building a relationship that you've been in for 2 years. One of them has been during a pandemic. So you're on course because you're both trying to do the right things in life. You're living every day to do the right thing. Now you might say, well, what is the right thing? The right thing is getting up every day, being thankful for what God has done in your life, and just telling God, I'm ready for more. I continue to work as unto pleasing you. And continue doing what you're doing. You just have to keep doing it. It takes 10,000 hours to master anything. It takes that long for you to get to the next level of success. Just keep working. Keep doing what you know to do, and keep doing it the right way. You're on the course. You're on the path to great success, both personally and professionally. You don't need to change anything. You say you've been quite irritable. We're in the midst of a pandemic. There's a lot of people dealing with pandemic fatigue. I get it. But that's a choice. You don't have to be irritable. If you're tired, you need some more rest so that you can remain energized. Get more rest. And because of those two things, you're feeling like you're not accomplishing what you want to accomplish. You are getting there. You are on your way. And you are going to arrive. Now, as far as being irritable is concerned, I said that's a choice. It is a choice. You have to decide that whatever is going on from day to day, that nothing is going to interfere with you getting to the place that God has appointed for your life. Not what you want to do, but what God has for you. What He's appointed for you. Because He knows better than we know for ourselves what we should accomplish. The great thing is, the great thing about God is the scripture tells us that when we delight ourselves in God, when we live to please Him, He will give us the desires of our heart according to His will. As long as it's His will and you don't want anything else. Trust me when I tell you. As long as it's His will and it's His way, you don't want anything else. Just stay on the course you're on right now. You're going to experience the fullness of God. You will see things that you've never seen before. You will experience things that you've never experienced before. If you just stay on the course. Don't be like the wind blowing to and fro. Don't be like other people chasing after the illusion of what they think is going to give them the experience that they desire. That's an illusion. What we should desire to experience, is the fullness of God in all of our lives. And there's a way to get to that fullness of God if we get on the path that God is leading us, guiding us, instructing us, ordering our steps. There's a path, but we have to choose the right path. The problem is that when we get to the point in our lives where we're adults, we're educated, we are in our careers, we come to that fork in the road. Do I want to follow the path that God has set before me, or do I want to turn to the left or turn to the right? You know, that kind of looks like a pitchfork. You turn to the left or turn to the right, you're going to get off the course. But if you stay straight ahead, what God has before you, you will eventually achieve. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could need. They have shirts for men, ties for men, suits for men, and accessories. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. They will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. And The White Company, located in London, the UK, and they also have a store on 5th Avenue in New York. If you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything that you could possibly need: home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. If you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have a colleague who is overwhelmingly aggressive in your professional environment. You want to know, how do you deal with people like that without losing your job? So what's most important is that you don't allow dealing with them to make you lose your mind. Listen, here's the reality. First of all, we all have to teach people how to treat us. You know, that doesn't mean we have to curse them out. That doesn't mean that we have to be loud and, boisterous. Listen, you have a conference room in your office space. When you go back, because a lot of the issues you've been dealing with right now have been during the pandemic, and there's a way to address that too. You can pick up the phone. Don't email them, because then you have a paper trail. Don't do it in front of your other colleagues on a conference call. What you want to do is pick up the phone and have a polite conversation with them and explain to them that you really feel that it's not conducive for your professional work environment for them to be so overly aggressive. If you feel that that's going to lead to a complaint, then you may want to include your immediate report, the executive leadership, include one of them in the conversation. If not, listen, just have a private conversation with them. Even if it's if you wait until you go back to the office and you do it in a conference room, one-on-one, you can just have a private conversation with them. But the reality is, sometimes we think that we have to confront people and be loud and be obnoxious to get a response. Well, sometimes you're not going to like the response that you get. So we've got to first of all be very courteous and address the issue. The second thing you can do is just document the occurrences. And the reason that you want to document is so that at some point you might have to put that in an email to them and bring it to their attention with bullet points, the things that they do that are creating a poor environment. And if necessary, you might have to present that to them and provide executive leadership with a copy of it. But right now, it's just a simple method of having a communication. Because we've got to learn to communicate effectively and efficiently if we're going to really maximize our success. And the last thing is, when you feel that it becomes too much for you to deal with, ignore them. Don't deal with it. because that will keep you from losing your mind in the midst of mess. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D is brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you